Hello, YouTube. Welcome in, ladies. We've got a lot of people waiting to start this beautiful live stream today. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome in. Let me know that the sound quality is good because I don't have my mic on today. I have it on the desk. So if you would do that, I would appreciate it. So let's go ahead and get ourselves centered. I have a really fun topic, and I think it's a little bit unique, and I know it's been on my mind to discuss. And I was rushing to get here today. I wanted to get here on time. So I'm going to do a quick meditation, a centering meditation with you guys just because I need it and maybe you guys need it too. So let's go ahead and do that. And then we'll jump into the content. So someone first let me know about the audio. Is the audio good? Because as I mentioned, I'm doing a little bit something different today. Hi, Sakina, Sona, Rachel. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Universal. Great. Hi, Leela. Thank you, lovely ladies. Leela, if you would please again do me a favor and share this out on Facebook so that everyone knows that we're starting. Good morning. Great. So let's go ahead and take some deep breaths, and I want you to take 4 count deep breath in and 4 count deep breath out. And what I really particularly want you to notice is instead of noticing your breath, I want you to notice the space between inhaling and exhaling. So just notice and become aware of that space. So let's go. Third count. 4. Notice the space. Now I want you to notice the space behind your eyes. Just see and notice whatever you're seeing. Don't judge it, just observe it. Keep breathing. And don't breathe in and out, breathe up and down. Inhale, go top of your head. Exhale, go to your womb space. But just notice the space behind your eyes. Now notice whatever the loudest noise or sound is in the room, and just notice the space around your ears as you're doing this. Listen as if God is talking, as Michael Beckwith says. Listen intently. Listen with full presence. And just let your body relax into it. Don't judge the sounds that you're hearing. Just listen. Now notice whatever the most prominent smell is in your room. And notice the space around your nose. Don't judge the smell, just observe and smell it. Just let it be. Now notice the taste in your mouth. Just notice it and the space around your mouth. Don't judge, just taste. Now notice the strongest sensation that you're feeling on your body. For me right now, I'm feeling the seat, the chair holding me, and I'm just going to relax into it, settle into it, and let it hold me, let it do its job. How does that feel? And we don't always have to close our eyes when we're doing these kind of practices. It's just a presence practice, puts us in our body, gets us in touch with all of our five senses. Good morning. All right, so let's talk about today feminism and femininity. It's time that we talk about the union and beautiful marriage of this. I think I look when I tap into and feel into the energy of feminism and the energy of femininity. I'm sensing a split energy. I'm sensing this like oppositional energy, meaning they're kind of at ends with each other. And really, in this video, I hope to be able to integrate them beautifully, because without one, the other one is incomplete. And that's why the title of this video today is Feminism plus Femininity equals Quantum Queen, Elevated Modern Feminine Energy. So the first thing I want to say is we all have a choice, right? Some people choose to be feminist, full-blown. Some people choose to be in their femininity. And some people don't even know that they have a choice, and they're kind of in this neutral state. They're just in this survival mode. But we do have a choice. And what I want to gain or focus our attention on today and bring light to the fact that the choice comes through feminism. So even the people that say that I reject feminism, I am not a feminist, the fact that you are able to make that choice is because of feminism, correct? Like, our ancestors and even women currently have lost their souls, their blood, their sweat, their tears, their energy, their time, their money, their bones, their flesh, to gaining us the right of choice, the right to choose the way that we want to live our life, correct? So I think that just like we use the term often wounded femininity or the wounded feminine, someone who's been traumatized and isn't in touch with her femininity, or has kind of a wounded sense of femininity, the same is true for feminism. Are there some people that have taken feminism in the opposite complete direction? Have they taken it too far, where it's almost become this war against men? Of course, just like femininity can be wounded, feminism can also be wounded. But today is all about integrating these two and realizing that without one, the other is incomplete. And what I mean by elevated, modern, quantum queen level femininity, it's really the marriage between feminism and femininity. And to me, it means it's grounded in self-love, but it's also grounded in the love for all beings, for all humans, for all animals, for all beings in general, right? And so for angels and guides and all of those wonderful higher beings as well, you can't say I love my guides and I love my angels and I love God and I love my children, but these people I do not love. So it's this groundedness in love in general, and coming from a place of worthiness and coming from a place of full abundance. Knowing that there's more than enough for everyone, that gaining our rights doesn't mean that we all of a sudden have to take away rights from men or take away rights from certain groups, that there's more than enough rights for everyone, there's more than enough love for everyone, there's more than enough security for everyone, there's more than enough safety for everyone, there's more than enough money, there's more than enough everything. There's this full abundance. And I like to use both spirituality and practical everyday actions for my work. And there's a reason for this. I think in a lot of work, either the theory is shared, the mindset, or the habits and the behaviors are shared. Now, when people share the mindsets or the theory of things, they're hoping that the mindset shift will bring about behavior changes, correct? Or when people will teach you the behaviors of what you can do to act as if, they're hoping that the behavior shift will also eventually change the mindset. But what I've done in my work, and I do feel that this is why my programs and my work and all of my free content is really accessible and popular and gets you the result, is because I've married the two concepts. Because if you know that the mindset shift will eventually lead to the behavior shift, and the behavior shift will eventually lead to why not just give them both? Why not just give them the understanding of the mindset shift, the theory behind it, the philosophy, the spirituality, but also give them the everyday examples that I personally use, and then use that as a template. You don't have to follow, and not everything I share will be applicable to everyone, but you can use that as a template, right? So thank you so much, Abby. Chelsea said you're spoiling us with all this content. Love that. Thank you. I'm so glad you're feeling spoiled. I like that. Thank you. Thank you. So what I want to kind of move into is, how can we use everything that we have gained through feminism and then marry that up with the love for all beings and standing in our worthiness and knowing that we have a voice? Again, as I said, I shared this very passionately, maybe a little too passionately, at the Fire Flow and Goddess Intensive that we just had. And I said, look, like, our ancestors, okay, so this is what I said. I said, many generations of women have lost their blood, sweat, flesh, tears to gain us our voice and to gain us our rights. So when we think about femininity, it's not going to look like what our ancestors had, because first of all, the rules were different, their mindset was different. Think about it this way. What's happening, this is something that I've seen in women so much, because I have this unique, humble opportunity to hear a lot of women's intimate details. I started noticing there's these two different energies around this. And so what's happening is, when women are coming to the feminine energy work, they're thinking, okay, so I just lean back and I completely hand over everything to my masculine partner. There's that. Or they're really confused because they have spent their entire life building an empire, building their career, building their wealth, building this beautiful life, and they don't necessarily want to hand it over to someone. So there's this like split energy, and then there's two groups of women. There are no there shouldn't be two groups of women. There's just women. Because as I've said in my live stream that I did in the Facebook group, I am all woman. Like, I'm all women. Every woman has the flavors of all other women. So if something exists in human consciousness, it exists in all of us. So if we have the split energy of good and evil, then it exists in all of us. If we have the split energy of light and dark, then it exists in all of us. If we have the split energy of feminism and femininity, then it exists in all of us. Now, some people have integrated it and they have more control over it. They have self-mastery over it, but it exists there dormant somewhere. So understand that one woman is really just a representation of all women, just playing out different flavors. So we need to integrate and realize that feminism is an anti-femininity and femininity is an anti-feminism. It's all the same thing. It's just the evolution of society. Like, as we're evolving, as our consciousness is evolving, we're having to come up with new ways of integrating all of these principles together. And Oh my goodness. Thank you, Chloe. You were spot on. It activated me like you wouldn't believe when you said that at the conference. Ah, I'm so glad to hear that because I know that I'm passionate about this. So let's get back to that split energy. So um, you remember when I did that free masterclass for the conscious couples when I was launching the conscious couples intensive? I talked about there's these three stages of relationships. So I'm gonna recount them and then I'm going to marry this in with this concept. So stage one is think 1950s, 1940s, 1920s housewife. In stage one relationships, stereotypically, of course, there's some, there it's not all or nothing, but in stereotypically, the woman was very much dependent on her masculine or her male partner. So if she was married, like she didn't necessarily have all her rights, right? Maybe she was choosing to be a homemaker or didn't want to work, but whatever it was, she was financially, like emotionally, in all ways dependent on the man. And if you got lucky, you had a man that was invested in you and an equal partner and treated you like an equal. But if you weren't so lucky, you were at his mercy. Like if he was bad with money, like there wasn't much you could do. If he was a womanizer, there wasn't much you could do. You may have children, you're kind of dependent. So it's like this one-sided power dynamic where you have no power in the relationship and you're fully just dependent on your partner. So that's stage one. This is still playing out. It's still in our consciousness. It's playing out very differently. How I see it playing out now is when, in several ways, but one is, those women that are dating and they get so obsessed with finding a man or so obsessed with their ex or so obsessed with getting that one particular man to like them. That's a stage one dynamic playing out in different flavors. So she may be a fully independent woman at work, but she's still playing out that like handing over her power, handing over her energy to a man who hasn't earned it yet, to a man that's not fully capable of holding that same space for her. So it still plays out. Stage two relationships are where you have divided everything, split in the middle 50-50. You get the kids on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and I'll get them and blah, blah, blah. Or you get the kids, I'll pay the bills. You pay the mortgage, I'll pay the electricity bill. It's like this roommate kind of 50-50. We are complete equals in a relationship. Now, for many people, this is such a graduation from the stage one that let's applaud that for a second. This is not about shaming any stage because if women are good at one thing, it is making the best of the situation that they have been dealt with. So let's applaud those women that did whatever they needed to do in the circumstances and lifetime and society and culture that they were born into. So I think that that is a great up level from the stage one relationship. And oftentimes I have worked, I no longer do, very rarely do one-on-one coaching work now, but when I was doing it, sometimes I would have to help a stage one woman get to a stage two relationship, and that was such a success story. But we're awakening to the fact that there is also the stage three. And the stage three is recognizing that the roommate kind of dynamic cannot play out fully in the relationship because eventually both partners will get really, they'll get burned out and they'll lose polarity and lose attraction in the relationship. So why is this? This is because even though we can play out this like equality and this partnership and this roommate kind of relationship, and it works beautifully, and a part of it is so needed in running a household and parenting, but it does not play into the natural tendencies, hormones, chemical processes, brain structures, and evolutionary history and soul history of men and women. So because of that, if you factor that in, then you will evolve into that conscious couple that I talk about in the stage three level. Why am I talking about relationships when it comes to this? It's because I see this most playing out in the relationship domain. I've spoken to so many women that came to this feminine energy work. It changed their life, and then they're stuck in this dynamic now where their partner is running the show, but in many ways not running the show effectively, and then they can't call him out because they think that that would be leaning forward. So they're leaning back, letting a guy lead them and their entire family and structure astray. That is not femininity at all. That is not femininity. You guys have heard the saying that the man is the head of the house and the woman is the neck. If you are not doing your part as the neck, the whole structure will fall apart. You have to do your part as the neck in the polarity and the dynamic of their relationship. So if you forget to do the directional part of letting him know when and calling him out when something's not working, and using the communication skills, the all of the wonderful things that you have worked really hard to learn and embody in your life, if you are not learning, if you're not using that actively, you just screwed yourself and your entire family over, and you may be rejecting femininity or feminism, but you need feminism for this. You really need it. I speak to so many women that don't know how much their husbands are earning. That is your family's household income, babe. They don't know where he's investing the money. They don't know where the money is going, like what bills they're going in. They don't have much say because they're leaning back. That is not leaning back. That's being delusional. That is being completely delusional. I'm speaking to women where their husbands are getting them into massive amounts of debt, 30, 40, $50,000 in debt because they were leaning back. I'm going to do a separate video, actually, probably this week, called When Leaning Back Backfires. I shared this in my 90-day relationship rehab program and in the Babes Club, but I think that it's time to just talk about this stuff publicly because I see so much damage being done. A lot of these concepts are freaking life-changing. They're so amazing, but there is a way and a time to apply them, and there is a time to not apply them at all. And I think there's a lot of confusion around this. I also work with women that are high achieving, right? We're talking CEOs, doctors, lawyers, business owners, making massive amounts of impact, money, creating empires. They don't want to just hand over their lives and their wealth and their entire career to a man, and rightfully so, because that man has to show that he's skilled in that area, right? So there is a way to do this. I promise you. I'm a modern day woman raised in Western culture, USA. Like, I understand all of the Eastern principles of attraction and polarities and the laws of the universe, but I also am very much aware of the role of feminism in my relationship and in my life, because my husband has insisted as a high value masculine conscious man that I call him out when he fucks up. Sorry, I shouldn't use that word because I know Facebook and YouTube is big time censoring. He insists on it. He insists on it. And he says that if I do not call him out when he's not taking the right direction, that I am at fault. And I am at fault at that time because I'm leading him astray. I'm leaning back at the wrong time. That is not the time to lean back. That is the time to call out. And he has full permission to call me out too. That's what makes a conscious couple. That is what makes a spiritual evolution as a couple. So you have to be able to have these discussions. At the end of the day, some people, it's not even about men or women. Some people are just really bad at finances. They're just really bad. They didn't learn the skills that were needed. And so if you are in that relationship where you have handed over everything to your partner and he doesn't know very much about money, this is something that you as a joint unit need to learn together. You need to both become financially literate in that situation, and you need to speak up about it, but you need to be involved. This impacts you in massive ways. This impacts your family. This impacts him. It impacts your children or your future children. So these are not the times to sit back and where I'm leaning back and I'm letting him lead. Leadership it's not like a one-way street, right? It's like you let someone lead in different areas of life that he has shown leadership skills in. So someone may be a really great leader when it comes to holding a structure of a family. Let's say he's great at managing time and he's great for creating a sense of security when it comes to time management. But maybe he's not so great at finances, or he's not so great at schedules. Okay, so you're not gonna sit and lean back and let him lead that and not call him out on that and not figure out a way that works better as a family unit. So I want to hear from you guys and see what you guys are feeling about this. But please don't think that femininity is about, think about it this way. In the 1920s, if I was a very feminine woman and I was rooted in my self-worth and I was grounded and I knew when to lean back, and in some ways it was also easy because maybe I didn't have an empire that I had built. I didn't have a choice, right? I could be fully in my feminine all the time and then just hope for the best, and what he did. But as a modern day 21st century woman that is building an empire with my partner, and I'm fully whole in my masculine and feminine beingness, and so is my partner. When we're together in an intimate setting for like 1/3 of our relationship, I can let go of my masculine role and completely be in my feminine and get the juicy polarity and attraction going. But when we're sitting down and looking at our finances, or creating a schedule or a structure for our children, we both have to have an equal say. That is not when I'm going to lean back. In fact, if I lean back in that setting, that is a burden to my partner because he has to do everything alone. He's not raising a child in me. I'm not his child. I'm an equal partner. Men love partnership. They need someone to help them. Like, figure this out. It's not like I'm just going to have no preferences, I'm going to have no choices, and I'm just going to hope for the best. That is going to exhaust him. It's the wrong useful, it's like the wrong use of his masculine power. It doesn't make any sense. You have to be an equal partner in a lot of domains in relationships, and trust me, if you are integrated in both your feminine and masculine, you know how to turn it on when you need to turn it on. But it's not about like, okay, now I'm going to be just this other extreme and I don't get to have a say, and then let's just hope that he figures out the finance thing. No. In fact, I have a really great friend she's always, I've known this woman for 15 years. She has always been really great at numbers, really great at finances, and this is just her thing. Well, she ended up marrying a man where numbers are not his thing. Like, he goes to work, he earns a great paycheck, but like, he doesn't know how to keep that money. He doesn't know how to invest that money. He doesn't know. And she tried so hard to just like hand it over and hope he learned it. And he tried his hardest. It wasn't his thing. And we were having this conversation years ago where she was like, oh my God, I'm so exhausted. And I said, you don't need to be exhausted. You could just say, he could accept the fact that numbers isn't his thing. Maybe he'll never get it. Maybe he will. And become a joint venture when it comes to this. Because at the end of the day, the person that you marry, this isn't just a spiritual union. I think we forget this because marriage is so... like the rituals of marriage are so around a spiritual structure, a religious structure, which is beautiful. But a marriage is a legal contract. The person that you marry, depending on what state or what country you live in, whether you realize this or not, or know this or not, or like this or not, that person becomes your automatic business partner in life. You are financially bound to that person. You are in child rearing in a lot of ways bound to that person. When you buy a house together, that is a business transaction that you are both taking a part in. That's a legal transaction. In a lot of states in the US, that is your next of kin. So this person chooses, if God forbid, if you were on life support, if you are medically incapable of making your decisions, this person chooses. Did I lose you guys? Okay. I thought I lost you for a second. This person chooses whether to keep you on life support or not. This is a big decision. It's a spiritual decision. It's an emotional decision. It's a financial decision. And yes, ma'am, it is a legal decision. We do not hand over all of our preferences and our say, and we turn off this voice that, again, thousands of women, if not millions, have lost their blood, soul, tears, flesh, bones, lives over gaining us these rights. And this is not what men want either. So it's not about men versus women. I'm telling you, men do not want dormant, turned off women as partners. They don't. They don't want this. They want your say. That's why they're constantly asking you, what do you think, babe? What do you want, babe? That's why they spend so much time showing you and explaining things to you. They're looking for your approval, which means they want your say. They want to see if they're headed in the right direction. You have a huge, huge, huge impact and influence in your relationship. Not just God-given, but again, those thousands and millions of women that died for you to have these rights. This is modern day femininity. It's not about turning that part of us off. We're such an important part of society, especially of our families. Oh my God, we are such an important part of God's creation. We need to keep our voice. Now, how we use our voice, how we use our tone, the words that we use, how we say certain things, that's an art. That's what I teach. That's what a lot of coaches are teaching with this whole feminine awakening and revolution. But I think a lot of people are misinterpreting as well. You do not lean back when it comes to your relationship, when it comes to figuring out your life. Because if you think you have inner wounds and you have childhood trauma, so does he. So does he. Men have an equal level of childhood wounds and trauma. They went through similar school systems as you. They are also the victims of all the things that we are victims of. Their mothers, their sisters, their wives, their friends, their bosses, like everything, it's an energetic merging, right? It's not like we've dealt with this in isolation. That's why you often hear me say that men are often the biggest feminists. They want the women that they love and care for to have their rights because they want to please women. They love us. They love us. Their entire lives revolve around pleasing us and gaining our approval. So do not shut off your voice. Do not shut it off. That leaning back has become such as much as I love this concept and there's some positive aspects to it, it's not my term. It's a term coined by another coach. And by the way, the coach, it has come to my attention just recently, the coach that coined that term, the leaning back, is the head breadwinner in her family, by the way. She's the masculine leader in her family. If that doesn't tell you something, I don't know what does. So this isn't about like leaning back and hoping for the best. Men need our direction. We're the neck. We're the neck. That's why they're constantly gaining, needing our approval, wanting to be appreciated. They want to see if they're still on the right track. So they need that, okay? Let me see what you guys are saying. All right, I'm getting some, love this. Okay. Rachel said, thank you. This is so spot on. Yes. Abby said, thank you for this live stream, Mina. I love you, babe. I love you. I love you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm so glad that this is resonating. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to answer some of these questions. Grace said, love the live stream. I was wondering if it's okay to enjoy masculine hobbies as a woman. I didn't even read the rest of it. Yes, yes, yes. Men enjoy feminine hobbies too. Modern day human beings, I'll read the rest of that, I promise. Modern day human beings, conscious, evolved human beings, are the wholeness and integration of masculine and feminine. God is also the union between the masculine and the feminine. So everything in the universe is the integration of all that is, masculine and feminine. So modern day human beings are the beautiful marriage and union of the masculine and the feminine. Women have this beautiful masculine side that they have worked so hard in cultivating. So we love that. I love, love, love my masculine side, and I love my feminine side as well. It's about the intentional use. It's becoming aware and saying, which one do I want to play out in this moment? So throughout my day, throughout just one 24-hour period, I may dance between the two multiple, multiple, multiple times. Even in a conversation, I may switch back and forth. And that's the integration. That's the beautiful dance. So now let's move to men. Men, today's modern, high level, conscious man is the beautiful union and integration between the masculine and the feminine. So golf is a very much feminine hobby. And men love golf. Well, not all men. My husband doesn't, but a lot of men love golf, right? So absolutely, you should have masculine hobbies, right? Is it a good time when you're trying to get your sexy on with your partner? Is it a good time to be talking about your masculine hobbies? Probably not. Not a good time. That's the time to consciously be like, okay, I'm a full human being with my masculine and feminine. He's a full human being with his masculine and feminine. And in this moment, I'm going to drop the masculine side of me and be fully alive and juicy in my femininity to inspire him to be fully in his masculinity so we can do our beautiful dance together. And then because I'm fully in my femininity and he's in his masculinity, now we become one unit. You see? So I'm whole by myself, masculine, feminine. He's whole by himself, masculine, feminine. We come together and I say, okay, I'm only going to be feminine for the next 2 hours. And he's going to only be masculine for the next 2 hours. And now together we are a unit. We create a sacred sexual union, right? This is what I talk about in hypnotic sexuality, in my hypnotic sex program. That's the union of us. That's us integrated as one whole unit. So 2 hours after that, I may be back in my masculine because I'm doing something, and he may be chilling out and relaxing in his feminine. Excuse me. Okay, let me read the rest of that. But still enjoy. Okay, so I'm sorry, I'm going to read that again. So Grace said, beautiful Grace said, love the live stream. I was wondering, is it okay to enjoy masculine hobbies as a woman, but still enjoy doing the feminine things as well? Does this make me seem more masculine to men? Okay, so again, beautiful question. So when you're in your masculine, yes, you're gonna be repelling sexual attraction from a man. But do you want men to be 24-hour men, or your man to be 24 hours sexually attracted to you? I don't. I love my husband to death. We have a beautiful, conscious, elevated, sexy, juicy relationship 7 years in at the filming of this video. I would be exhausted if he was sexually attracted to me 24 hours a day. Trust me. We went through that whole journey where I was trying to be in my feminine all the time. And then I was exhausted because it was like too much. He was exhausted too, because it was like he needed me to be able to make some directions and lead him sometimes and do that beautiful thing. So think about it. I don't need someone to be attracted to me all the time. Sometimes I want people to leave me alone and I want to get my work done. Like right now, I'm very much in my masculine energy. I'm leading, I'm directing, I'm commanding, I'm like doing this. I'm very much in my masculine energy right now. Does it matter? Does it? No, my husband's at work. Doesn't matter, right? If he came home, I might be in my juicy feminine energy for a couple of hours. But what if he says, babe, we haven't sat down in a while. Let's look at some finances. I need to teach you some changes that I made in the investment strategy. Game on. All right, let's do this. He needs a partner right now. And I need to know what the F is going on. I need him to explain that stuff to me. Right? I was never into investing and I needed to learn this. So we're going to sit face to face and then we're going to be creating a structure around that and we're going to be talking finances maybe for an hour. And then after an hour, when we walk away, game back on. I might go back into my feminine. So it's this beautiful dance that you get to play. I absolutely have 100. In fact, and you can ask Irfan this. Irfan comes to my intensives and my retreats, so everything I teach is very transparent. Like I know like oftentimes you hear people talking about these wonderful relationships that they're having, and whatever I say when you guys come and visit, people, my clients have been to my home. We are doing another retreat in Hawaii. Come visit. Irfan's gonna be there. You can ask him that. I probably have like 110% say in the relationship, but I let him lead like 60-70% of the time. But he needs my say. He needs to know if he's headed in the right direction. My husband won't even change the brand of toothpaste that we use before texting me from Kroger. Kroger is our grocery store here in Texas, by the way. So just so you guys know. Okay. Abby said, to me, true femininity is courage to walk away from any relationship or situation, trusting in my intuition, higher self above anything else. Great, Abby. This is beautiful. Now, there is an abuse to that as well. Now, what's happening? This is what I'm seeing, and I'm not saying you're doing that. Thank you for bringing that up. What I'm seeing is women are doing this feminine energy thing in the relationship, and everything's juicy, and they're having amazing sex all of a sudden. There's attraction, there's flirting, but they're leaning back too much, not speaking up, and then all of a sudden, the only option they have is to walk away from the relationship. But when they come to me, I say, hold on, stop. Stop. If you haven't called him out in all the things that he's doing wrong right now that are making you walk away, you are an equal participant to that. Because as far as he knows, he's doing everything right. You've been leaning back and smiling, and everything seems to be going great. So it's like when we should lean back, we're not leaning back. When we need to speak up and lean forward, we're leaning back. And that's the problem. And so what's happening is it's like either you're completely checked out and lean back in the relationship, hoping he gets it right, or you have to leave all of a sudden. There is a middle ground too. You can call him out first and see what you can figure out together as a couple. A couple requires two people, two active participants. Two people with a say, two healthy people on a committed devotional path to figuring stuff out together. Two people. Rimda said, thank you. This has been bothering me so much about all the lean back no matter what nonsense. Yes, hell no. No, ma'am. No, no, no. Grace said, oh, thank you for this. I think women today struggle with the whole letting the man lead the house. This doesn't mean you lean back and let him do everything. No. First of all, what a unfair position to put your partner in. It's like raising another child. So either he's completely checked out and you're running everything and he's your child, or now you've completely leaned back and now you're his child. What happened to partnership? What happened to partnership? Now, again, I'm talking about stage 2 right now, but you need stage 2-ness in a relationship to get to conscious couples. Conscious couples is stage 3, where you are emotionally, physically, spiritually together, devoted on one path. Does that mean everything's easy and flowing together all the time? Nope. Nope, that's not. Unfortunately, life doesn't work that way. That means that you figure stuff out together. You both have a say. You're on the same team. So it's never you versus me. It's always us versus the issue. Us versus the problem. Us versus the dilemma. Okay, so let's see. Elizabeth said, should I be in my feminine energy only in early dating? No, you should be in your feminine energy multiple times in a day. Forget about dating and relationship for a second. Feminine energy is one whole half of you. So you need to be in your feminine energy to enjoy life. So if you are enjoying the wealth that you've created, you're in your feminine energy. If you are engaging in self-care, you're in your feminine energy. If you are standing in your worthiness and your beingness, you are in your feminine energy. If you're relaxed and playful, you're in your feminine energy. You need that just for you. Otherwise, you will get burned out. You will run through the less testosterone that you, like, this is, I'm not making this up. Women have less testosterone than men do. So if you're always in your masculine energy, always doing, 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 I promise you, you will get burnt out. Adrenal fatigue, all sorts of issues. That's your body telling you, hello, balance out. What happened to your feminine energy? Like, balance this stuff out. So I am 11 years into my conscious relationship, and I'm in my feminine energy multiple times a day with my partner. And then I'm in my masculine energy when I want to be in my masculine energy, and we both need to lead. Does that make sense? So sometimes we need to, it's like, like a parallel process and both be in our masculine energy and get stuff done. So then we're both in our masculine together. We know that when we're both in our masculine, we need to be really conscious and intentional. Otherwise, we may hit up against each other. We may repel each other. We may get into arguments, but that's a part of the game. If you do it consciously, you learn how to do it where you're both respecting each other's masculine. And then in other times of day, I'm totally fully in my feminine energy and he's fully in his masculine energy. Then in other parts of the day, he's fully in his feminine energy and I'm fully in my masculine energy. And that's okay because that's still polarity. And in that moment, we've got different roles going on because that's what's needed in the union, modern day 21st century union of our relationship. So we have to cut out this all or nothing stuff. Elizabeth said, thank you. It already happened to me. I burned out because always being in masculine energy. I just thought in order to be high achieving and successful, I need to be in my masculine energy. Now I introduce feminine energy as often as I can. Beautiful. And let me tell you, if you're in your feminine energy all the time, you will also feel burnt out. You'll feel like you're losing control. You'll feel like there's this whole other part of you that's just calling you and you can't even live out your desires and your inspired action because again, you're also wounded in the other direction because anytime you're split up where you have to let go completely of any part of you, that's going to create that dissonance in you. That even if you I went through that stage. That's also a stage because when you find feminine energy, you're just like, oh my god, this is so good, it's so delicious. Your partner can't keep his like hands and eyes off of you, like everything is so juicy. You're like, this is it, this is the secret sauce, this is what I need to do. And then 3, 4, 5 months down, he's gonna be exhausted from playing the masculine role all the time. He's gonna start becoming resentful. And you're going to be missing the masculine side of you because you need to also get stuff done and you have dreams and goals and stuff that are masculine in nature. And then you're going to have to awaken to the fact that you need both. I let people play that out. I see people on social media saying too, you can be in your feminine energy all the time and you don't need your masculine energy at all. I don't respond, nothing, let it play out. They're in that stage where I went through that stage, so I totally respect it, but eventually they're going to have to come and integrate it because that's also not wholeness. That's not wholeness. If God wanted me to be feminine all the time, he wouldn't have given me some testosterone, right? I have some testosterone. Women have testosterone too. There's a disbalance of that too. So we need both. We absolutely need both. This makes so much sense. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you so much for this topic, Sabina said. It's the confirmation that I needed. Awesome. First live. I'm looking forward to rewinding and hearing the beginning of this video. Love you so much. Love you too, Jessica, darling. Love you. Sonam said, thanks. This speaks to my soul. Thank you. Manifested this video. Yay. High five. Girlfriend, yes. So Rachel said, I need to work on letting go of control, and he needed to learn more structure around finances. So I feel we are helping each other grow. Conscious couple. Conscious couple. You work with each other's strengths and weaknesses, and then you build on it. So for example, what if my husband had said, well, Mina doesn't know anything about finances, so I'm just going to run the show but then I would have missed the whole opportunity to develop that side of me and for us to be a partnership. for us to be together in this learning. So did I let him lead in teaching me? Yes. I often will still say, I'm sorry, could you repeat that whole financial thing you just explained to me? I didn't get it, right? And then yesterday, my husband was having a conversation about this new business venture that his friend was telling him about. My entire stomach did this. I wasn't a part of the conversation. I was just hearing it. He was on the phone, and a part of me was like, shut up, Mina. Like, this is what my tummy is doing. And then the minute he got off the phone, I was like, babe, I didn't hear the full conversation because I couldn't hear your friend, but whatever that was, it's not going to work for me. My tummy was in knots. He's like, okay, off. Not happening then. We had to cultivate this together. He trusts my feminine intuition so much. We learned that the hard way. That if he says, like, he knows if I it's a no-go for me, I don't even have to give him a reason. All I said was my tummy turned upside down. I didn't even hear the rest of that conversation. He's like, it's off then. But we had to cultivate this. We had to cultivate this. This requires work and communication and learning new things and being uncomfortable. Sometimes it requires getting into arguments, having those disagreements, and the goal is to learn something from each disagreement. So we used to be that couple that would never speak up, never call each other out. Everything was fine for 6 months, and then we would always have like this big blowout every 6 months or so. And then it was like, okay, back to the drawing board. But what I noticed was every time we had that big blowout where we were like throwing stuff at each other, we would come out of it so much stronger, so much stronger. So then we got to that stage where we're like, okay, so holding stuff in and building resentment leads to us blowing up. Not good. But every time we have a blow up, we learn things about each other and about the relationship, and we grow. So good. How can we do this better? And it took years, but then we got to a place where we both have full permission to call each other out. We do it with respect. We never do it with like, you are a bad person. It's like, this thing isn't working for me. It's very different. My best friend was sharing something with me the other day. She's like, she was asked, complaining about something, and I called her out on something, and she's like, damn it, all my other family and friends were saying this. But she's like, it's just the way you say it, Mina. When you say it, I don't feel attacked. I feel like you are calling me out on that thing versus they're calling me out on I'm a bad person or I have a character flaw. That's the art. So if you can have communication and call people out in that moment when they're doing something right then and there in a respectful way without judging them, it's like turning on the observer mode. You're observing the situation, you're not judging it, you're not judging him, you're just saying, this doesn't work for me. That's it. How can we do this better? That's a mutual conscious couple. That's the beautiful dance to growing together. That's what leads to long-term success in a marriage. Not speaking up and then completely blowing up and leaving. Like, marriage it's a union, it's a devotion, right? So you're in it for the long haul. So let's see. Homemaking said, oh my God, exactly what I'm going through. Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. I'm so glad that this is resonating. Rachel said, at first I tried leaning back too much and ended up resenting him for not being what I thought he should. This has been a learning process of balance. Yes. And again, that's okay too, because you learned something from it. That was a necessary step in the process. Love that. And you realize that. No judgments, just observing what is happening in the present moment, and something needs to be tweaked. You tweak it. Elizabeth said, in spite, I feel scared and insecure and unsafe when I am only in my feminine energy. Knowing my masculine side has my back makes me feel safe with myself. We need both. We need both. If we didn't, we would have only been given one. We would have been only given the ability to have one. But you notice that we have the ability to have both. Right? It's like saying Do I need the sun or the moon? You need both. Do I need the nutrition or the fitness? You need both. You need both. Do I need my left arm or my right hand, my right arm? Both. We need, it's an integration. Never compromise yourself with your inner spirit. And I went through this stage with my dad past November. He tried to control my freedom and told me only no low moral women use the trains and buses. Okay. Yeah. So I mean, at the end, so I don't want to speak to the individual. So here's what's happening. It's all about perception, right? So and I think I had that discussion with you where I said your dad may not realize that the way he's speaking to you is not loving to you. From his perspective, him telling you these things, he's trying to protect you. And so what did I have you do? Call him out with love in the moment. Not 2 years later, because he can't go back and change it now, but in the moment saying, Dad, I know you're trying to love on me, but this doesn't sound like a very loving conversation to me. That is calling him out on the spot so he can love you better. And recognizing that even in his twisted words, there's love there. Okay, anything else coming up for you when we talk about the integration of feminism and femininity? Observer mode on, becoming aware of where are you in any given moment. What energy are you playing out right now? And are you consciously choosing it, or is it just running behind the scenes? That's the path to being in a conscious, evolved person, is choosing it intentionally, using our free will and our awareness to choose it in an intentional way. Sometimes you need to be in your feminine, sometimes you need to be in your masculine, as long as it's not running you and you are choosing it. She said, I feel so relaxed now than ever. I get to be soft when I have to and strong when I have to. Thank you so much, Mina. Oh my God. Beautifully said. Beautifully said. You get to be both. And sometimes being soft is really, really being strong. And sometimes being strong is being really, it's this beautiful marriage between it all. Sometimes when we're really in our masculine energy and we're thinking that we're leading and we're doing stuff, we're actually in fear. In that moment, maybe feminine energy would serve you better. So it's like being aware of what am I doing right now? What's happening with me? Am I aware of my breath? Am I aware of the way that I'm moving? Am I aware of what I'm speaking? Or am I just kind of letting it run on autopilot? It's the running it on autopilot that gets us in trouble. Moonchild said, I have difficulty being present. I feel like I've allowed myself to be unhappy for so long that I have forgotten what it's like to be carefree happy. How do I stop blocking myself from my true self? So you have to go back and start the inner work. So I have a process that I teach in, I'm adding this to the High Value Worthy Woman too, but the Worthy Woman Ascension program that's launching on 222, 222, but it's also in the Sacred Feminine. So what we do is you have a habit that's formed of you running your life in a certain way. So you have to undo that process. Is it going to be easy in the beginning? Nope. So what I have women do in my programs is we go back and we figure out what was the original source, because that's beneficial too. You can do it without figuring it out, but realizing the original source, I think, gives you a appreciation for that negative thing that you may be perceiving right now, because some part of you, maybe in childhood, needed to engage that, activate that for survival. Can we appreciate that for a second? Can we just love on that for a second? How beautiful is that? That some part of you needed you to not be present, run on autopilot for survival. I think makes sense. Okay, great. Is it still a functional way to live now? Is that still your current circumstance? Probably not. It's an old programming that's running the show. So we go back, we figure out the original source. I teach you how to do that. You release on it. You let it out of your body, so it's not in your muscle memory. It's not in your cellular memory. It's not, the energy is not stuck in your body, running the show, getting diseases and all that other stuff that happens. It's out. And then we get to reprogram you with new behaviors, new levels of consciousness, new levels of awareness, so that you can live your life based on your new level of reality, your new reality. It's not an easy process, I'm not gonna lie, because it's something that you have to reprogram, but it's something you can definitely do. 110%. I promise you it can be done if you just devote that attention and energy to it. Rachel said we're getting hundreds of dollars worth of free coaching today, and this is amazing. Grateful. Thank you. If this helps you, that's it. That's what I'm here to do, because I see so many women struggling with the whole leaning back thing, and I'm in my femininity now, but you need both. You need both. Integration, wholeness, both. Is it going to be easy to integrate both? No, it's a relearning. It's unlearning. Adult learning is very different than, oh, let's talk about this. This is so important. Childhood learning is very different than adult learning. Very different. After being in the teaching industry for many years, I promise you it's a whole different process. So when children are under the age of 6 or 7, their brains, human babies, human children, their brains are in this natural state of hypnosis. It's just the brainwave that they're in. When we say children are like sponges, they literally are. So all you have to do is they just watch you. It's not what you're saying. They're just watching your behaviors, your reactions, your energy, and they're absorbing that, and they're just learning. That's their learning. It's easy. It's just coming in. They're learning. Adult learning is like 90% unlearning. It's going back and like unlearning the mental models that were formed mostly in early adulthood, but also in in early childhood, but also in adulthood. It's just your habits. So adult learning is not about consuming new information all the time. Like people think it's just more information, more and more and more. It's about, what do I need to unlearn, and actually going through the process of unlearning that. Of like unlearning all of that junk that served you at that time, but no longer serves you, but it's still a part of your subconscious. It's a part of your 95% of the subconscious part of you running the show, right? So adult learning is very different than childhood learning. But I think that people don't realize that most adult learning is unlearning. That's the paradigm shift. That's why my work focuses both on the theory and the spiritual work, but it also has to integrate the behavior. Like you need the marriage between both. So let me give you an example of just behavioral settings. So anyone that's learning, like have you guys heard of the rules? It's like this dating dating rules. They're like rules for dating. And basically they give you if then. If he says this, do this. If he does this, do this. Now, is that useful for a lot of people? Yes. For when you're in that lower level consciousness of like you don't even know, like you're not aware of anything that you're doing or saying. You don't know like what a high value woman would behave like. You have no boundaries. What you're doing with following the rules, something like the rules or etiquettes or anything like that, is you are mimicking the behavior of someone who has that level of consciousness, and a certain level of consciousness, and like what a conscious woman would do, what an awakened woman would do, what a high value woman would do. But if you do not like, if you don't get like the why behind it, and then a new situation presents itself, like now you have to like refer back to the book because like you don't know how to handle this situation, because you don't understand like the mental process and the consciousness level that you're mimicking. Is this making sense? Now, if I'm just talking about the theory or the philosophy or the spiritual level of something, then I'm going to be telling you all of these like esoteric principles and beautiful things, and you're like, yes, this resonates with you. Oh my God, this is so level. And then you're going to be in that moment, like in front of your child or in front of your partner or in front of your boss, And then you know this, but like you're gonna be like, okay, what do I do right now? Like how do I apply this? Like how does this play out in like everyday triggered moments? So what I do in my work is I marry those two things together. So I tell you the why, and I tell you the mindset. I tell you the spiritual background, the psychology, the science stuff. And then I also share with you actual stuff from my examples, and I use the examples of the many women that I've come in contact with, and how I see it played out, so that you actually also know in that moment. So now you have both, and you can play with that. You can modify it, you can tweak it, but you have an idea of what it feels like and what it looks like. Those are two different trainings, but you have to merge them. If you are a coach or a content creator or a teacher, and or you want to be, if when you develop your work, make sure that you are integrating both. That is my gift to you. You have to integrate both, because if you're just giving one, you're giving them half of the story. Will that work? Of course, many people will learn just from that too. Modified behavior may eventually lead to the mindset shift, like they might figure it out. But if you gave them both, now you just made a huge transformation, because they have all the tools that they need. Okay? Mina, you have helped me unlearn so much. Thank you, Abby. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Ishtil said, "Oh my God, that's exactly what's going on in my relationship. I thought it was just us, but you gave it a name. Thank you. Beautiful. Thank you." And Moonchild said, "Thank you. It's been the way for me for 2 years until now. Wow, I was so unhappy that I blocked my own ability to be in the present because of the pain I was experiencing. I want to be me again." So the first step is realizing that what a beautiful ability our body and our mind and like that whole level of us, how beautiful is that? And as a childhood survivor and thriver of sexual abuse, I will say that that out of body experience that the child has when they're going through a sexual abuse or anything like that, that is the saving grace. Like at that moment, like I'm not gonna sit, the 39-year-old version of me is not gonna sit here and like bash that old child self that did that. Like she needed to do that. She needed to escape in that moment. Now, did that cause some problems in my teenage years, in my 20s, because I couldn't be present? Yes. But the original trauma that happened required that. So thank you so much, child self. Thank you for doing that, because that helped you survive, and here I am today because of that. So love on that child for doing that, but also realize that now I'm safe, now I'm safe, now I'm safe, I'm fully loved, I'm fully in my power. I have free will, I have power, I'm a powerful, fiery, and flowy, masculine and feminine, divine, holy, complete being. And I'm safe, and I'm fully safe, and I'm fully activated in my power. And now I give myself permission to be fully present, because I'm out of danger now. I'm safe. I have created, through the use of my masculine energy and the grace of my femininity, this beautiful container to be safe. Right? So beautiful, so fully integrated. It's gonna take a little bit of training. Like I often tell women, say, it's safe to be present now. Okay. It's safe to be present. It's safe to allow love. It's safe to love. It's safe to drop down my guard. It's safe to open my heart. I'm safe. I'm so safe. I'm so safe. That child self wasn't, and she did what she needed to do, but now I'm so safe. So say this, you repeat this, you embody it, right? You have the mindset and the behavior, and now we're making a transformation. Rachel said, "My husband's driving scares me when on trips together. He gets defensive and angry if I confront this. How to address this in a feminine way that yet stand strong?" That doesn't make me safe. Doesn't make me feel safe when you drive that way. And because I love you so much and I want to feel safe, I feel like I'll just Uber there and I'll meet you there. Love you. Easy. Natural consequence. You are not a bad driver. You made me feel safe. None of that. No blaming. He's not a bad person. He doesn't have bad character. He's not a loser. He's not incapable of making you feel safe. He's not incapable of driving. It makes me feel really unsafe. And I don't, like, we've gotten to a point in our relationship where I have full capacity to use any tone and voice and all that now with her fun. But when you're in that point where you butt heads and you haven't evolved past that stage, and that takes time, it's okay, wherever you are, it's the best place. You use a certain level of respect and you just say, that does not make me safe. See if he corrects it. If he doesn't, you still love him, you still accept him, but you're going to Uber there or you're going to take your own car. Natural consequence. When you get there, there's no blaming or shaming. You have a good time. But you're not driving back with him either unless he changes his driving. That's it. Easy. It's like you removed the drama out of the consequence. This works great with parenting too, by the way. The old us, like when we're in our lower consciousness, there's a lot of explaining to our kids. There's a lot of, why do you have to do this? Why did you do this? Blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of explaining. In this new level of consciousness, there's like, I love you. I accept you. I'm not going to shame you. We're just going to deal with the consequences, but there will be consequences. And it's not a punishment, it's a consequence. A punishment is like, I'm going to inflict this on you. A consequence is, this is just naturally what occurs in life. Natural. This is just what happens. We're not going to shame you. We're not going to not love you. Easy. Same thing with a feminine, masculine, man-woman relationship. So the difference is saying you are incapable, I don't trust you, or you are a bad person, or you are a bad something, versus this is not working for me, so this is what I'm doing right now. I'm still going to trust you in other areas that you're so fully capable of, and you're showing up, and you're also capable of this, but it does not, right now it's not working. Right? So you use less words. It's your energy. You're still loving. You're still showing up. What women do is like they won't speak up and then they'll get angry with their energy. And then all of a sudden you're like not warm anymore. You're not enjoying what he is doing well. You're like turned off because you won't speak up. But if you spoke up in a way that he understands, less words, just kind of like, this isn't working, and then there's a natural consequence, and you're still loving and affectionate and open in other areas, and even in that, if there's no drama around it, he fixes it. He has a chance to fix it. And if he doesn't, then you don't grace him with your presence in his car. Easy. Yes, Leela said, yes, too many warnings. The warning, it doesn't work with children and it doesn't work with partners. It doesn't, in general, it doesn't work with people. Because if you keep warning but there's no actual natural consequence, it means nothing. She's just running her mouth again. She's not going to do anything. Okay, let's see. Moonchild said, thank you, Mina. The person that triggered this is currently trying to come back, even though he hasn't done any work to correct the problems that hurt me back then. I cut him out of my life. So you have full free will to cut someone out, and you have full free will to bring them back in when you're ready, and or never. But you also have full free will to forgive them. And remember, forgiveness does not equal bringing back in. I hear this all the time. But Mina, I can't forgive that person. They'll do that to me again. No, they won't. Because this time you're awake and you're not going to let it happen. Forgiveness doesn't mean you let the person back in your house or in your life. Forgiveness means I'm not going to keep punishing myself for something you did 4 years ago. Right? That's it. Easy. Easy. Life is pretty easy when we allow it to be. It's our perceptions and our judgments and our drama that complicates things. Vidya said, I'm at this point, I need to embody feminine energy in parenting. My son keeps triggering me. Where do I start? Parenting requires both feminine and masculine energy. In a parent-child union, A lot of times the child is in the feminine energy and you are in the masculine, just by naturally you being a parent. Now you can be in your feminine and play with your child, but if you're only in your feminine, that also creates an issue. So what I would say is, start with the high value worthy woman ascension. And there's the 1.0 program that's already there. You may even be in it, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure, but I think you are. But the new version will really help you because I'm adding more up-leveled content in there. The first one, again, by itself has helped thousands of women, but I'm giving a new level of consciousness to that program on 2.2. And realize that parenting requires both. Parenting requires leadership. Parenting requires setting a container for your children so that you can flow as a family together, but it requires that container. And depending on, I thought I recognized your name. So meet me in the live Q&A that I'm going to do as part of that. And I can relate it more to that. But don't beat yourself up and you're in your masculine a lot with your parenting. You need to be. So children need containers. They need consequences. They need behavior like they need all of that stuff, but they also need free will to choose. So it is perfectly okay to have natural consequences that you have set in place and let the child make the mistake, then enforce the natural consequence so that they can learn the process of that. It's when we break their free will by saving them from the problem so that the natural consequence won't occur because of our own fear. So sometimes it's okay to let them and love them through it. So it's that drama-free natural consequence. So it's not like I'm punishing you. It's like when you do this, natural consequence occur. I love you. I'm going to watch this and observe this and accept this, but I'm not going to bail you out necessarily. I can, but I'm choosing not to. Different, right? A Universal Journey said, I feel like you read my mind and we have a soul connection. I totally resonate with everything you say. Finally, I can say I have a soul sister. Thank you, lovely. You are all my soul sisters. I love you. If you're resonating with this work, if you resonate with me, we're soul sisters. That's why you're attracted to this. That's why you're so attracted to this work. Moonchild said, that's very true. I miss him, but I miss me more. I'm going to need to let go and begin to love myself more. I want to focus on becoming more present again, yet I keep thinking about his problems. So it's like you have that energetic emotional hook in him, and he's got that energetic emotional hook in you. So neither one of you guys are free to love each other or yourself. So start with the self-care, start with the loving yourself first, get him off of your mind, hang up on yourself, distract yourself with other things, and let that be a part of your natural programming. So ladies, thank you so much for showing up today and hanging out with me. This was such a lovely discussion, and I'll see you guys soon. I think tomorrow we're getting the internet guy back again, coming to fix up some internet stuff. So maybe Friday I'll be live again. Check out the Hawaii retreat. We've got Fire, Flow, and Lava Awakening happening in Hawaii. Put in your vacation request. Come join us on the Spiritual Girls Retreat. And then also check out the virtual option of that and also the High Value Worthy Woman Ascension. Everything's linked in the description box. I love you guys so much. Bye.